Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host, Cody Tanner. Cody, how are you on this fine Victory Friday?
Oh, Victory! I was about to be like, Victory Friday doesn't happen that often, but it does. Thursday Night Football is a thing, and that's kind of just what we had.
Night games.
We do have 2 Thursday night games this year, so we're gonna be excited for that. No, I'm doing great, James. Just got home from work, took the dogs out, one's sleeping back here. How are you doing, James?
Doing pretty good, man. Looking forward to the weekend here, yeah, I don't have to tell anyone my pleasure this weekend, so that's cool.
That's rough. Chick-fil-A jokes all day. Anyways, with that being said, Pittsburgh had their last and arguably best preseason game last night, Thursday night. We're going to get to that recap. And then we're also going to go over our final 53-man roster predictions before the end. We'll go over position by position. James will go, I'll go, James go. We'll go through the whole thing and just give our final 53-man roster predictions before the breakdown and the official release on Tuesday of next week. So again, let's go ahead and start real quick. Steelers versus Falcons preseason game in Atlanta, home of the original Chick-fil-A, just saying. If you guys are fans of Chick-fil-A, they're coming out with a new sandwich. It's phenomenal. I tried it today. Savory and sweet. Love it. You want to know what else I love? Kenny Pickett, man.
Let's talk about Kenny, man. 5 for 5 in the preseason on his drives, ending, and touchdowns. I asked permission from Cody since I wasn't allowed to say it last week, apparently. He did lead them to touchdowns on both of these drives.
He did.
Right down the field, 4 for 4 in this week's game for what was it, 86 yards, I think.
Something
just
like that.
Stupid. His final preseason numbers gave him a perfect quarterback rating over 3 games. So that's pretty impressive. Kenny really did a great job. 2 notable ones, in my opinion. He had the deep one to Deontay Johnson on the left sideline. Absolutely perfectly thrown ball, 33-yard gain. Fantastic. And then to outdo himself, does a deep bomb on the right side to George Pickens for 35 yards. And again, perfectly thrown ball, plenty of room to keep it in bounds. And almost got a touchdown on the play. George almost got in the end zone on that one. Went out of bounds at like the 1 or 2 yard line. So very, very close. Great perfectly
catch.
Thrown balls. And this is what everybody was talking about last year. Everything's dink and dunk. Everything's short into the sidelines. Nothing over the middle. Nothing deep. Well, he did everything this preseason. He had 2 deep touchdowns. In this game, he had 2 deep bombs over the sidelines. Lots of great throws over the middle of the field this week, or I should say in this preseason. I just am very impressed with what Kenny did this preseason. I thought he would look good. I didn't think he'd look this good, Cody, so I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I genuinely... I here's the thing. I know Kenny Pickett's the real deal. Like, we saw it at the end of last season, winning... What was it? 7 of the last 9 or 6 of the last 8 games in the year.
6 of the last 7, something really impressive.
Yeah, it was great. We got to see him, and again, in the final 2 games, he had fourth quarter game-winning drives. I got to see a little bit of it last year. We got to see, I shouldn't say me, I wasn't watching, but we got to see it last year, and I kind of expected it to enhance this year. I did not expect it to be like this. I did not expect it to be so straight up obvious. And James, I saw something posted yesterday online where someone said Kenny Pickett went back and watched all 144 of his incomplete passes last year and took notes on them. And that was the part where I realized that's my quarterback. He doesn't care how much he succeeds. He wants to know where he failed, how he can get better, and taking notes on it. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, he went back and watched them all. Like, the part that really impressed me was taking notes. Like, what did he see on because he's watching the 22-man film. He can see the whole field. So he's trying to figure out, what did I read wrong? What did I read incorrectly on these looks that I was given? Was I rushed? Did someone miss a block? How could I have, switched the blocking up at the beginning of should I have pulled the running back to block for me? I'm just so excited to see how he improves from watching those and taking notes on them. Kenny Pickett's the guy. Kenny Pickett's the man. Kenny Pickett is he. He is he. That's all I got to say.
I'm with you, man. I was thoroughly impressed when he went back and watched all 104 from last year. Just a hardworking dude. And I was talking to somebody at work today, and that this is not an illogical thing to think that a guy that got so much better as the season went on, and in his final, I want to say 6 games or 7 games, he had 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Like, it's not out of this world to think that that kind of guy could continue improving. You look at his college career, and he was good and a little bit better, and then his final season, just absolutely incredible numbers, over 40 touchdowns, only like 6 or 7 interceptions. Just incredible in his final college year. Why in the world would we think that he wouldn't progress as a professional quarterback? I don't know, but I love it. A little bit on the other 3 guys. Mason Rudolph didn't do a ton in this game, really didn't have a lot to work with. Had a couple deep balls that were real close, just missed by a yard or 2. Mitch had a lot of dump offs in the short. His deep balls seemed to all go out of bounds, but he did benefit from a couple of pass interference and defensive holding calls, which allowed the team to get in scoring position.
Yep.
And then Tanner Morgan really didn't have much to work with at all by the end of the game.
No,
and had a couple decent throws though.
Great throws, in my opinion. I don't want to take anything away from him being the 3rd or the 4th string quarterback. We'll get to it later. He's not going to be on the team, unfortunately, unless it's the practice squad. But he showed a little bit of spark, which was nice. And when I say a little bit of spark, I mean a little bit of spark. You can't judge a 4th string quarterback off of what he did in this game, but I can tell that he's accurate on a lot of throws. The throw that he had to the end zone was a great pass, only thrown where the wide receiver playing the ball could have gotten it. I mean, I guess the other guy turned around, he potentially could have the corner. But the wide receiver just made a bad catch on the ball. Just didn't get his feet in bounds. It was a great pass for the end zone. Should have been a touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, yeah, that was Cruikshank, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up somewhere else. He may not make our practice squad. Someone may have liked what they saw that last preseason game and said, hey, we're going to bring you on and let you ride the active roster as the 3rd string and run them through some drills and stuff during this year. So we'll see what happens, but those guys did play well. Running back room, James, was nice to see Najee break out for a little bit of a run on this game. He had 1 or 2 that broke for a few yards. And then Jaylen Warren just proving that he's the solid backup, if not potential starter one day, whether for us or somebody else. Holy crap. Both our starting 2 guys are incredible. And then Anthony McFarland had a decent game as well. So
yeah, I love the toughness that these guys all ran with. The ball moved much more consistently in this game, running the ball. Lots of, like you said, 4 or 5, 6 yard run types.
Yep.
So way better. And I love the thing that Najee, Jalen, and Anthony McFarland all had in common in this game. That's they each got a rushing touchdown, and each of their rushing touchdown attempts, they were stopped short of the line, and it was their extra effort pushing forward, driving with their legs, never giving up on the play. All 3 of them got the touchdown through second effort. So love seeing that from your running backs. I loved seeing some guys push the pile. I even saw Mason pushing the pile once in there. I thought that was pretty neat. Usually the quarterbacks stay away from the piles, but a guy like that who's 3rd string at best this season and playing on a vet minimum contract and nobody really wanted him. Nice to see that high effort. At least you got to give him that.
Yep.
So I thought nice performance from all 3 of those top guys. And then I can't say enough about what Connor Hayward did. Connor got a chance to run the ball in this game. He made some real nice runs. I thought he made a couple people miss. He ran hard, had a fantastic pass, a blitz pickup in one play where Mitch was the quarterback on the play. He bombed it deep on the right-hand side. That was the pass interference call that got him down to the 2-yard line. But there were 2 guys that came free. Connor picked up the inside guy just like he's supposed to, but drove him into the outside guy, taking out both blitzers on the play, which allowed Mitch to step into it and bomb it deep enough to actually overthrow the receiver a little bit, which typically you don't get the opportunity to do in that situation because you can't step all the way into it and get your whole arm into it.
Yep.
So I thought tremendous job by Connor on that particular play, and I thought he put forth a great effort, as he seems to every time. I love the versatility of what we got to see from him, and I think that it's important because Pittsburgh is going to feel comfortable with using him as a running back if need be in the regular season. If a couple guys get nicked up in a game and maybe they only dress 2 guys, I don't think they'll bat an eye about letting Connor carry the ball 10, 15 times in a game if they need to.
Yep. No, I agree.
And I don't think they should bat an eye at it either. He's a good player.
Yeah, Connor Hayward's an all-around guy. He can block, he can run, he can catch, and then he can run after the catch. I mean, he's
His hands are awesome.
He can tackle on special teams. He's phenomenal.
I'm telling you, if he would have decided to drop weight instead of put weight on, he could have been a starting wide receiver. The guy's got great hands and great route running capability.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player all around. Moving on to the tight or wide receiver position, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens both had great catches this game. You specifically wanted to talk about the sideline catches.
Yeah, those ones on that first drive, both from Kenny Pickett. Tremendous. I mean, sideline catches aren't easy. You got to focus on catching the ball. You got to focus on keeping your feet in bounds, and then you're trying to get some extra yards afterwards. Both of them did a great job in that. It's been quietly a nice preseason for Deontay Johnson. Week 2, he had that crucial block for Jalen Warren, helping spring him on a 62-yard touchdown run. George Pickens seems to have made at least one really awesome play in each game. So
just what you expect.
It's promising. It's very promising what we've seen from our top 2 wide receivers. I felt everybody else just kind of like one catch here, one catch there, nothing really to stick out. But those 2 catches I thought were pretty fantastic. Yeah.
I will talk. Oh, we'll get to it later. We'll talk about special teams later with the guys.
Yeah.
The tight ends weren't super involved today, but James, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of
wasn't necessary.
We've seen enough. We know what they can do. All 4 of them. We know.
And honestly, the Hot Rod Williams ain't bad either, man. That number 5 tight end's decent. I hope he makes the practice squad.
Yeah. I mean, I would happily take another tight end. Why the heck not?
You never know, because Gentry's on a 1-year deal, so maybe you need him next year.
Yeah, and we'll get to this later. In my opinion, there's a chance that Gentry's potentially in trade talks with the guys you have on the team. Don't overthink that. We'll get to it later, but don't overthink that. Anyways,
foreshadowing.
Moving on. Offensive line, I felt like we got to really get the hint that I can't believe they put Kendrick Green back in at center.
It was just because of the guys that didn't dress. That's pretty much it.
And quite frankly, I'm happy he had a good game because I think maybe we can get something for him in a trade now.
Yeah, honestly, his best game of the preseason by a mile. Maybe his best game in a regular season as well. I don't know. But he started at right guard in this game. And then when it went to second unit, they wanted to see some other guys at guard. So they moved him back to center, and he probably had his best game as center also. I'm not saying that I think Kendrick Green is awesome, but he might have built enough value and shown enough in this game that maybe you can get something for him in a trade. If not, if nobody wants to trade for him, you at least ought to be able to try and sneak him onto the practice squad.
Yep. We'll see what happens there. Broderick Jones.
Yes, thank you.
Broderick Jones had a phenomenal game.
Nice game from him, man. Very clean. Nobody beat him all game, I don't think. I didn't see it if they did.
If they beat him to the point where he countered it and they didn't. It's weird. Like, when you get past somebody, but then they make sure you stay past them kind of thing.
Yeah, pushing them up the arc.
Yeah, I mean, that's all. I think that happened once that I remember seeing. So no one actually beat him. He didn't allow any sacks. I don't even think he allowed any pressures. Phenomenal game from him, and I'm excited to see him start by the end of the year easily.
Yeah, I'd say probably by the bye week is a logical time to do it. I don't think they're going to do it at the beginning of the season. I think Dan Moore gets the start. I think Cody and I are in agreement there with his head shake going on.
Yep.
You got Nick Bosa week 1. You got Myles Garrett, and then I think Max Crosby is week 3. It's a really tough first 3 weeks as far as some of the best pass rushers in the NFL that we will go against. So you probably want to have your more experienced guy out there. Dan Moore's already had some success with Myles Garrett. He's seen him for 2 years now.
Everyone's had success with Myles Garrett. Let's be real.
As much as you and I both know that TJ Watt is a better player out of the 2 of them, he still had 16 sacks last year. He's still a good player.
Fair. Hey, maybe Nick Herbig will have that this year. Yeah. Maybe
Alex Highsmith?
All 3 of them?
You never know.
We'll see. We'll get to it. Dotson, Herbig, and Daniels did not play in this game. Those were the reasons why you thought Kendrick Green played.
Such a long burn,
Yeah. D-line. Let's talk about D-line. I think that Montravius Adams helped his stock in potentially making the team this game. I don't think he did anything fantastic. I just think that he played a decent game. He didn't get beat. He didn't get overpowered by anybody. And that's not to say, Atlanta has a decent O-line. I think we didn't get to see him go up against the ones, unfortunately. But Atlanta's consistently been improving their O-line over the past few years. So I was happy to see Montravius Adams play. Keanu Benton was good to see him play a little bit. I think we're going to be able to see him. He's going to be starting, right? There's no way he's not starting.
We'll see. I think they were very intense in the first
Say that
team.
all again. You cut out, my friend.
I think it was very intentional on who was on the field at what time. So the starting nickel defensive tackles were Montravius Adams and Keanu Benton. And I feel like it was an opportunity to try to pit them head to head and see who was more successful against the same unit. And then they did the same thing with Isaiah Loudermilk and Armon Watts, both of them in at the same time as that second to third unit type pass rushing duo. So we'll see what that leads to as far as who makes the team and who starts and whatnot. If Benton doesn't start at the beginning of the year, I kind of feel like he's going to show enough that you're going to want him out there. Or whoever gets the start at nose tackle might struggle a little bit, and it'll force your hand to make a switch.
Yeah. We'll get to that later again when we talk about the 53-man roster predictions. We'll get to that. Outside linebackers, TJ had a Watt. Herbig had a Watt. We had two other guys with sack, or TJ had a Watt. TJ had a sack and Herbig had a sack.
I was wondering where you're going with all these Watts.
Roche had a sack, forced fumble. I can't remember the other guy's name. Who was the other guy?
Toby Ndukwe. Yep, all four of them got a sack.
4 sacks in this game. You know who didn't get a sack? Alex Highsmith.
There were actually 5 sacks, just the other one came from a middle linebacker. But we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we'll get
we're going to get to that.
I got excited about
that. But yeah, it was nice to see some pass rush juice out of some of these second unit guys. So Ndukwe getting to the quarterback, Roche, it was a pretty clean move, like a two-handed swipe, got right by him. And Ndukwe has a really nice first step. He's just a smaller dude. He needs to fill out. He needs some time in the weight room. So I would love for him to be able to sit on the practice squad for a year.
I hope.
Yeah, I would love for that, because guys like that who have that explosive first step, who have the length and some decent quickness and some decent moves and just need the bulk up, man, you really want to see him sit on your practice squad for a year and then, maybe put 5-10 pounds on them and see what they look like next year. You never know.
Yep.
Golden was on a 1-year deal. You might need a number 4.
You never know. Inside linebackers, we are going to talk about it. Landon Roberts with the great sack, big hits. Landon Roberts, I felt like, was all over the field throughout the majority of that game.
I didn't know he had that in him, man. Reading the holes and firing. He got a tackle for loss where the running back lost 4 yards. That was impressive, man.
That doesn't happen often.
No, really, really nice game from Landon Roberts. So a lot of what I was hearing and trying to read between the lines, I thought that Landon Roberts might be kind of losing playing time to Quan Alexander, Mark Robinson. Oh, he played his butt off, man. It was like he knew his life was on the line.
Because they're all freaking good. I've never been more excited about having a problem of too many good players at a position, and I feel like it's 2 positions. It's freaking inside linebackers on defense. Actually, it's 3 positions. It's inside linebackers, outside linebackers, and tight ends. We have too many good people. We don't know what to do with them. It's where we're at, and almost running back, depending on Anthony McFarland's. I'm just combining people's stuff today.
Yeah, you are.
It's been a long day, but yeah, I mean, this inside linebacker crew and linebacker crew as a whole, I think, is the deepest we've been at as far as depth is concerned, like quality wise, since I've been alive, by far. I can't think of anything.
We haven't had that kind of depth in a while, that's for sure, man. The backup middle linebackers, even the starters, the middle linebacker room has just been a question mark ever since Shazier got hurt, and it seems to be solidified. I'm excited to see how that looks in the regular season. If these guys can look like what they've looked in the preseason, that was our biggest question mark, I thought. So if we've got some answers there, if these guys play their butts off like they have been, I'm really looking forward to that. Tanner Muse and Mark Robinson, had a nice game as well. I thought both very active, got a lot of tackles. Mark Robinson had a forced fumble, which the other team was very close to scoring at that point too. So pretty important to see that.
I thought we were going to give up the shutout. I really did. And then that happened and I was geeking out.
Yep. And Kenny Robinson recovered the Mark Robinson fumble and protected the lead. So nice to see guys fighting for spots, guys fighting to be on that roster and not be in practice squad.
Yep. We love that. Cornerbacks. I don't even know. There wasn't a whole lot that happened in the cornerback room. You want to talk about James Pierre. I almost just want to talk about the fact that there's nothing to talk about. It's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, they didn't get torched, right? I mean, we didn't. Yeah. I mean, we didn't have to see their starting unit, so that has something to do with it.
Yeah, Drake London and the other guy didn't play at all.
Yeah, and
I can't remember his name.
Who the hell's the starting quarterback there now? Desmond Ritter.
Desmond.
The starting QB. So we didn't see any of that, and I'm sure that has something to do with it. But I thought that James Pierre was in phase all night. He was right there with the wide receivers. Didn't necessarily get his hands on balls to break them up or anything, but he was always right there where he was supposed to be. So I like that. I don't want to see him, 2-3 steps away, because then you can't make a pass breakup. You can't get the tackle right after the catch. You can't get those things that are required of a cornerback that's rosterable. So
I'm going to stop here just for a second because I want to make almost a psychology prediction here. Not necessarily Steelers related, but you just made me think about this. They didn't start their number ones. They didn't have their starters go out there on this last preseason game. I think Atlanta has a slow start of the regular season because of that. They have no momentum going into the season whatsoever.
That's fair.
I think that's a bad decision. I think you can't.
I'm not going to stress on it. I don't really care about the Falcons.
I don't either, but I'm happy that we put our ones in. I realize they're young. I guess so are theirs. I don't know. I'm just happy we did that. I couldn't imagine not having Kenny Pickett, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens play in this game. I would have thought that was a very dumb decision. But anyways, cornerbacks looked good because they didn't allow anything to happen. Safeties, Trenton Thompson and is it Jalen Elliott, correct?
Yeah. I thought both of them were aggressive, made a lot of hits, were really firing in there. So I liked what I saw out of the hustle and the willingness to come up and make a hit and go get the ball carrier to the ground.
1,000%. Can't agree more. Kicker, Boswell was perfect. Unfortunately, BT Potter missed his only attempt. That's sad for you, my guy. It's okay. You weren't gonna make the team anyways. Punts were very good by both punters. Both got them inside
both of them looked good,
10, inside the 5. And then Calvin Austin again breaking some punt returns away. That was the question.
That's going to be exciting, man. People are going to have to punt out of bounds because they're going to get sick of him taking long returns because he just does it play after play after play.
And he doesn't even have to try. It just comes natural to him, which I think is fantastic.
It seems like he's not even trying that hard. He just is so quick and so elusive,
Yep. Now time to go over our final 53-man roster predictions. James, do you want me to start with quarterback?
Sure, go ahead, man. I don't know who you're going to put on.
It's going to be the same. Quarterbacks, and I do have these guys listed mostly in order. It's going to be Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph in my 53-man roster prediction. Keeping 3. You can dress 3 now. All of them will be dressed on Sundays. It's just how it's going to go.
You could dress 3 before just to be specific on it. Now you can dress a third quarterback and not have it count against the 48 active on game day. So that's what Cody was talking about when he said that.
Yep.
I have the same 3, so no surprise there. Moving on to the running back position, I've got Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Anthony McFarland, and just those 3 at the running back position. What about you?
I have the same 3, no different, no nothing.
All right. Now,
fullback, I don't have anybody, just so you know.
Fullback, no fullbacks for Cody. None. I put Connor Hayward there, so I'm classifying him as a fullback, whatever. Tight end room. Yours first, Cody.
You want the tight end room? I got Pat Freiermuth making the team, Darnell Washington, Zach Gentry, and Connor Hayward in my tight end room.
All right. I have the same, just I classified Connor as the fullback, but it's the same between those three positions.
Yep.
Or those two positions. So same there for me. What about your wide receivers, Cody?
Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson the second, Calvin Austin the third, Gunnar Olszewski not the fourth, and Miles Boykin. Gunnar, and here's my reason. Miles Boykin's, we talked about this. He's a phenomenal gunner. That's the reason Miles Boykin makes the team. He's Gunner's not an awesome gunner. He's not going to be gunning.
Miles is a better gunner than Gunner is.
That's true. Gunnar Olszewski making the team because he's consistent. He may not make any splash plays or this or that, but you have the confidence in throwing to him on second down and getting some yards, or third down getting yards. And honestly, in the last game, he made a phenomenal play. He caught a ball that shouldn't have been a first down, managed to break a tackle, stay in bounds, and get the first down. I thought that was an amazing play on his part from this last game.
All right, so my wide receiver room, a hair different from you. Des Fitzpatrick, I'm kidding. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, obviously, Calvin Austin the third, Allen Robinson, Miles Boykin, and that's where I stopped. I only have 5 tight ends or five wide receivers. Yeah, fair. 5 wide receivers on my squad. I didn't think any of the other guys stuck out enough. I loved what Des Fitzpatrick did on special teams. Every single preseason game, he made a really nice tackle. He had the opening kickoff tackle on this game. The guy is a really good special teams player. Right now, I don't see the room for him on the roster. And I just didn't think Gunner gives you enough right now as a return man or a special teamer. So I figured I'd rather have that roster spot for somebody else right now.
Fair. You want me to do offensive lineman?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm only keeping 8. I'm going to start right there by saying that first off. Going across the starting line, Dan Moore, Nate Herbig, although he's dealing with an injury, Mason Cole, James Daniels, Chuks Okorafor.
Okay.
Did I mix those two? Did I swap them? I did.
Yeah, you got Nate Herbig starting also. I don't know where you're putting Isaac Seumalo as a backup.
That's what I meant. Isaac Seumalo over Nate Herbig. Okay. I'm going across. Yeah. So Isaac Seumalo, and then you have Nate Herbig, Broderick Jones, and Spencer Anderson as the backups. You will realize that Mason Cole's technically the only center, but you do have Herbig and Anderson that can play that position if they need to. And then also I do believe that Kevin Dotson may be able to be traded away, which is why he didn't make the team. And I don't even know if we'll get something for Kendrick Green, but I don't think he's going to be on the team this year.
Yeah. Mine is almost the same. I'm keeping 9. So all 8 guys that you kept are also on mine. Dan Moore, Isaac Seumalo, Mason Cole, James Daniels, Chuks Okorafor, you're starting 5 projected. Broderick Jones, obviously you're keeping the first round pick.
Yep.
Nate Herbig, you don't sign that guy in free agency to get rid of him unless that shoulder's worse than we realize.
True.
Maybe he goes to the IR or something. But let's pray to God that's not the situation. I love the versatility of Spencer Anderson. He was on my first 53. He's on this one as well.
Yep.
He played a lot of right tackle in the preseason, and then as the preseason went on, we got to see him at guard. We got to see him at center. This kind of versatility is incredible, and he also has some reps in practice at left tackle. He can play anything, and that makes him insanely valuable to an offensive coordinator and head coach that love to keep that many guys. Also, I'm keeping Kevin Dotson. I just don't think they're going to be able to get any trade value for him, and he's good enough to be a starter, so you might as well hang on to him and then see if maybe you can trade him during the season.
Fair. D-line, you want to start D-line?
Yeah, I'll give you my starting D-line. Got 7. Cam Hayward.
Hang on. Start over. You're cutting out.
Starting with Cam Hayward.
Yep.
Moving to Larry Ogunjobi.
Yep.
Keanu Benton. DeMarvin Leal. Isaiah Loudermilk. Montravius Adams. And Armon Watts. So I'm saying Fehoko is the odd man out in my unit. And I'm just saying that because they kept on running him 3rd and 4th string and only in the 4th quarter. And just I feel like the signs are there that they like the other guys a lot better right now. And it kind of stinks because if it were me and I were the coach, I'd probably keep Fehoko over Adams. But I feel like this staff is going to keep Adams over Fehoko.
That's fair. I have the exact same, except I do have them keeping Fehoko over Adams.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I was the coach. So I get it.
Yeah, Montravius Adams and Fehoko being very close in size and age and everything. I just felt that Montravius Adams hasn't shown enough, in my opinion, and Braden Fehoko has all year and can still improve. Not that Adams couldn't improve, but I think Pittsburgh's seen enough of Adams, and I think Fehoko has a little bit more of upside, in my opinion. Outside linebackers, James, I'll go first. I'm keeping 4. It's going to be no surprise to anybody. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and Marcus Golden are my 4 outside linebackers.
And no surprise, I have the exact 4. Inside linebacker.
Hang on, James. We're going to have to try to move this closer for a second, see if that's what the problem is. I'm not sure.
I got a lot of background noise, so maybe you go first on this.
Okay, so inside linebackers, for me, I'm keeping 5. Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts, Quan Alexander, Mark Robinson, and Tanner Muse. Part of me wanted to put only 4 and have them keep those top 4 that I said, but I just felt that the depth and the, quite frankly, I mean, special teams ability of Tanner Muse as well makes him a little bit more valuable to keep him on the squad. And again, with the number of injuries we've seen with the inside linebackers, I just think that Pittsburgh wants to keep 5 in this situation.
I'm with you on that. I have the exact same 5 on.
Let's go.
Again, I'm with you. Muse's special teams value
100%.
Top for me. I feel like it's a shame for Kwiatkowski preseason. Then he injured that shoulder. He wasn't able to play the second game. The third game, he had a wrap all the way down to midway through his bicep, showing that he clearly was still experiencing some side effects from that shoulder injury. Yeah. So I've got him on the outside looking in. Cornerback room. I'll go first on this one. Well, I've got some quiet going on in the background here for me. I jinxed it. I shouldn't have said that. Levi Wallace, Pat Pete, Jerry Porter Jr., James Pierre, Shandon Sullivan, and Elijah Riley. I'm keeping those 6.
This is where I'm going to be taking a chance here. So I got 6 staying on the team as well. I got Levi Wallace, Pat Pete, Joey Porter Jr., Elijah Riley, Shandon Sullivan, and then I don't have James Pierre making the team this year. I have them cutting him in order to sign a free agent. And normally I'd just say, hey, they're going to sign someone who's not on the team. I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to say they go Bryce Callahan from free agency. Bryce Callahan, yeah, I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Bryce Callahan still is a free agent. He has 9 interceptions in his career, 3 of them coming from last year, coming off one of his best years. I think that Bryce Callahan, there's a chance that nobody else is in the market for him, and we were able to sign him to a cheaper deal than maybe normal. But we'll wait and see what happens. There's still a lot of cornerbacks that are available for signing right now. So
that's shocking, man. I did not expect.
I don't know what you're saying, homie.
Outside linebacker.
That's okay. Let's go over safeties. Safety position. I'm going to have 4 safeties on the team. James, I don't think they're going to be any different from you. Minka Fitzpatrick, Keanu Neal, DeMonte KZ, and Miles Killebrew for the potential special teams blocking ability and kick punt blocks. I think that's just how it is. You got the same?
Yeah, I'm the same. I really wanted Kenny Robinson on there.
So did I.
I wanted to see more from Trey Norwood, but he was injured almost all preseason.
Yep.
So I think neither one of those guys makes the team right now, unfortunately. Miles Killebrew just making a team, like you said, for special teams. He had a partially blocked punt again.
Yep.
Kicker, pause for president.
Pause for president. Punter, Harvin for vice president.
That's it.
And long snapper,
Secretary of State.
Christian Kuntz.
Yep.
Christian Kuntz.
You know what I didn't realize until this preseason game is how incredibly skinny Rex Sunahara is.
Yep.
So that man needs to hit the weight room to get a job.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to wrap up this show. That's going to wrap up our final 53-man roster predictions. Again, we're going to be releasing a show next Wednesday for you guys. That show is going to be specifically going over the actual 53-man roster and kind of discussing that. And then we'll have a following release after that, prior to our first game against the San Francisco 49ers, which is the first home opener week 1 for Pittsburgh in 10 years or more, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a lot. It's like 8 or 9 at least.
Yeah,
I think.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So we can't thank you guys enough for watching or listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring that bell. It's free. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.